Crazy. Scott Hebert, welcome to Suit Up the Podcast.
Hi, thank you for having me.
For those who are just listening to the podcast feed and not watching us on YouTube, two things are interesting about today. The first being there's just like this white, boring background behind me because I'm at a coffee shop because my condo, the condo next door, is under construction. So there's lots of noise as they tear up the floor of my neighbor's home, and you just hear the sound of crushing concrete. And I didn't think that made for good audio. Instead, coffee shop noise. That makes for much better audio. The second interesting thing is Scott Hebert is better dressed than me. I'm wearing like just my leather jacket and like a Henley and the casual adventure tee mode. Here, Scott is wearing a button-up shirt, a vest,
custom
tailored, and a hat.
Yeah,
I'm
they
very
call
jealous
me
on the
Scott
hat.
Hebert. They call me Handsome Scott Hebert for a reason, bro.
You look like you're ready to be the dealer on a riverboat gambling a steamboat.
Yeah, I could be. More like a sheriff or, got that prohibition style era going on.
You do. I'm very impressed. So, I mean, let's get right into it. Scott, for like a month, your Thailand phone number was on my contacts as Thai Scott.
Nice.
So tell me about Thailand. You were there for like 2 months?
Yeah, 50 days, 50. Yeah, it was great. It was a great adventure. Yeah, what do you want to know?
What was the highlight? Like, first and foremost, remind the audience, why did you go to Thailand? And then what'd you do when you're there?
My buddy, I used to do martial arts, and my buddy he liked going to Thailand quite a bit. He might move there like 6 months on, 6 months off type of thing. And then there was, during COVID times, there was half off this gym membership, and we thought it'd be fun to go do Muay Thai. And so we bought the stuff, and I could use a vacation. And the way that my life works now is that I can pretty much pack up and go during wintertime places because my work is not busy. And as long as I take art and do art, I can work for myself from basically anywhere. So I'd like to take advantage of that for the next 2 or 3 years, for sure. We'll see what happens. We'll see where life's at by the end of that. But yeah, that's kind of the plan, is just to go forward, just go somewhere every winter. It's cheap, it's hot, it's fun. Yeah, it's great.
What was the highlight when you were there?
Not girl related. PG-13. No,
yes, we've got PG-13 shows, Scott.
No,
just
no,
because
no, you know what? I don't really do like a favorite things like that. I guess my favorite part, I got a whole bunch of clothes. I like that. That's fun. But the whole thing was great. I think, I know this is gonna kind of sound like an obscure answer, but I think that my favorite thing is that I finished a bunch of stuff that I needed to do before I left, and I didn't have to. My work knew I was going, and they were fine with it, and I didn't have to do anything that was back at home. I didn't have to worry about anything. My dog was with my family. Didn't have to worry about him. Didn't have to check in on him. I didn't have to do anything other than just be there. And probably that was my favorite part. I think just not having to. I could just be somewhere else for like 50 days. You get out of all your own routines. You see how much of all the bullshit that you do is just you doing the same thing day in, day out. Maybe reactions to dealing with different people. And I just left that all behind. So yeah, I think that was my favorite part.
Reminds me of two things. One, Ian Fleming he had a sweet deal. He worked for a newspaper at the time, and he got like 3 months off, and he just moved to Jamaica for 3 months. That's when and where he'd write the Bond novels.
Nice.
And I mean, that was like the 50s, 60s. So obviously different time, but being able to have that kind of freedom to do that is amazing. The next thought was, do you remember that book, How to Change?
Yeah.
I don't remember the Kathy Milkman?
I think it's Katie.
Katie Milkman. The reason I remember is because Milkman, and I'm from Wisconsin. But she had made the comment that when you are going to change your patterns and routines, one of the best ways of being able to do it is by having a hard break like that. So you have a hard reset.
Yes. Yeah, it makes a big difference. It makes a really big difference. I think they talked about it in
Atomic Habits too.
maybe Atomic Habits, or maybe it was Charles Duhigg's The Power of Habit, or one of those habit books. But like even starting at like a new year or a new whatever was good. But yeah, I think that since I'm gonna go back, I think I'm kind of looking at life like now like a season.
I
Like
love this idea. Production
yeah, like
season 3 of Scott.
well, yeah, just like even just like a sports season
Oh,
more than
yeah.
anything. It's
That's
kind of how
actually
I
a
was
really
thinking.
good way of looking at it.
Yeah. So it's just performance time. And then when I go back, I was like I did a whole bunch of stuff while I was there to like work on not to work on stuff, but like I figured stuff out while I was there so I come back and just hit the ground running type of thing. But yeah, I think that's probably how I'm looking at things right now going forward.
I temporarily muted my microphone because I was going to try adjusting it. Hold on 1 second.
Okay.
We'll see that. Can you hear me better now?
I can hear you the same.
Okay. Well, I just wanted it to like not be in my face because, you know, got good face. Anyway, so you got new clothes when you were there. I was definitely jealous / fascinated. So tell me, what was it like getting custom tailor clothing?
It was pretty fun. I seen people getting custom suits in Thailand and Vietnam and stuff, and I thought that it looked like fun. And you get like a whole outfit basically custom tailored. And I wanted to get some I kind of want to get like a costume, like an outfit to wear, a uniform to wear for like when I'm painting and stuff, when I'm doing my paintings. And I wanted to look like old school but nice.
You
You know what I'm saying?
definitely have a good old school look going.
Yeah.
Classic is the way I'd put it.
Thanks. So I kind of like that Prohibition era style.
1920s.
Yeah, I kind of like that. It's like, but like modern stuff. So yeah, I just found a bunch of pictures of clothes that I like, and I took them to this one place, and basically I got one outfit made first. I got a shirt, vest, and pants made, and I checked them out to see if they were good. I thought they were probably gonna be good, and then I ordered 5 more shirts, 3 pairs of pants, and I got a jacket. And then when that was done, I got 3 more pairs of shirts, or 3 more shirts, not pairs of shirts, 3 more shirts. So I ended up with like 8 shirts. I ended up with a whole outfit, like a whole wardrobe, which is like what I thought I wanted to go with. Like I basically had an amount of money that I was going to spend. I was willing to spend
a budget.
Yeah, and then I also got some shoes, custom shoes made at this leather working place.
Now
And
the
that was
hat.
fun.
Did you get that
Yeah.
there, or is this one that you already had?
Yeah, I already had it. I already had the hat. The hat wasn't important to get there. Just everything else I can get there for cheaper, right? Good quality, but it's incredibly cheaper for like all the tailoring and stuff. And they're all, it's really fun. Like you go in there and you pick your fabrics. There's just so many fabrics that you can choose from, and they measure you up, and you just show them pictures of like what you want, and then you go back in for like your second fitting, and they make sure everything fits, and then like you pick where you want everything to go, like how far do you want this vest to go down, how do you want the sleeves to look like, or sorry, the shoulders to look like, where in, how is everything going, and then yeah, you go after your final fit and pick it all up, and it fits, and it's really cool.
Now the question is, are you going to get Peaky Blinders haircut next?
No.
Thank you. It looks good. I think it was well worth it. I'm just amazed you are better dressed than me right now, and I'm still wrapping my mind around it.
It happens, bro. It happens. No, it was really fun. I think that was it was great. That was a really fun experience to have. I would like to go back and get more stuff this winter. And then
do you have a plan for going back? Are you going to go to James Bond Island and fulfill your destiny?
No, that's your destiny. That's not my that's got nothing to do with me. Yeah, I would do stuff different a little bit next year, but basically I'd go to the same place. I'd go to the same place. I would stay in a different part of the island, but I would just go to Phuket again in Thailand. It's like, I don't know, it's kind of touristy, but that's okay for me for right now.
You know what? Touristy means it's safe. Although to
Yeah,
be fair, I don't know like how criminal Thailand is compared to
it's
anywhere
not.
else.
It's not at all. It's really safe. Um, it's really safe. The touristy. Yeah, the thing that happens with tourists though is that everything is like homogeneous,
Mhm.
so it just all is the same. It's like the same.
It's safe, literally, in the concept of there's nothing that's going to throw you too much in that environment. It's
Yeah.
domesticated.
Um, yeah, pretty much. So there's some drawbacks with it. You don't get like the real like Thai cultural experience, I guess.
Mhm.
But it's different enough than my home that I don't really care because it's just different.
Yeah.
And I think I'm just seeking different right now. I'm not seeking a certain thing.
Mhm. Thailand is just the location. It isn't necessarily something about the culture that's drawing you there.
No, I never thought I would go to Thailand. It never intrigued me that much. It was just my friend was going and basically I said yes. And that was pretty much it. And I could go there and do Muay Thai and that was fun too, right? So
Mhm. I feel the same way when my friends invite me to go to Yellowstone with them. I have no real particular interest in having seen Yellowstone, but it was a fun adventure to go with my buddies.
yeah, that's fun. Yeah, it's good. It's good to do stuff, right? And it's also nice going with someone where like I didn't travel with him or do anything. So it was like we both were separate. So there was a lot of days where like I didn't see him or whatever too.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, you make friends and hang out with lots of people and it's just it's fun. It was a neat experience.
Mhm. So you have returned to
Yeah.
BC. What what's the plan now? Now that you're back, you've cleaned the slate, you closed the loops before you left, and now Scott is back. Scotty's back in town.
Yeah. I'm gonna start doing a live stream show. I'm gonna make paintings. I'm gonna go to work, and that's pretty much gonna be my life for the next till like December. I'm gonna make I'm gonna do a live stream show, but that's just gonna be me filming my painting.
Mhm.
I'm gonna make some videos, and then that's it. That's all I'm doing. Like and then just regular life stuff,
Yeah.
friends, family,
Mhm.
eating, like exercise, right? Taking people for
Mhm.
walks. That's it.
Mhm.
That's what I'm doing. Boring.
I'm
Warrior monk.
Warrior
Monk.
Monk.
Yeah.
I have to say, I'm really excited you're doing a live stream show again. I don't know if any of our listeners caught when you were starting doing live streams, but it was really entertaining, fun, and I think you've got definitely a really good personality for it.
Thanks. I think I could be a bit more entertaining. But I think I have a good setup for it. Like my setup is
You
neat.
do.
Not, I've got a good idea for I've got a good idea for my show now. I think I've got a way
Mhm.
better plan. And I'm just getting everything finalized, but like all my assets and everything looks really cool. Um, it's all got the same vibe now. Like everything
Mhm.
just works together. Uh,
Mhm.
so I'm like feel like I'm starting fresh from like a whole bunch of different things. But I'm like I think it's going to be a little bit different of a show than just a regular live stream.
Mhm.
So I'm excited for it. I just hope it kind of works out.
Mhm. Well, I mean, that's the iterative process. Give it a shot. If you find that there are parts you don't like, you edit, you tweak. That's what doing things is.
Yeah, totally.
So today you released a really interesting episode, which I personally enjoyed because it was titled "Show Don't Tell,"
Yeah,
and in writing, that's one of the major maxims. It's way too easy to just try getting away with giving stuff away in expositional dialogue
yes,
instead of showing characters doing things. Or I was watching Air Force One with a buddy last night and or 2 nights ago, and in the film they have a hero qualifier moment where they say, "Oh, Harrison Ford, he flew 50 missions in Nam or something like that." So you have no, oh, he is capable of taking on the baddies. But
yeah.
then they also proceed to show him doing that. Then I watched
Hmm.
an old movie called Secret of the Incas, which stars Charlton Heston. It was an inspiration for Indiana Jones. And in that film, though, we're just dropped into the story and we see Charlton Heston doing really cool action guy things, but we never know where he why he's there, like what led him to it. There's like no backstory to him at all. They literally just drop you in and show him doing all the things with no
Yeah.
exposition as to why he's capable of doing all the things.
Mm-hmm.
So you
And what
use
was the
that
difference?
quote. I think that there's a way to have them work together. You show what they do and then have dialogue as to justification. In a film, I think it's different than a book. Uh, there was a well, I sent you
I
that
don't think it
video.
is. I don't think a film is different than a book.
Let me give the reasoning.
Okay.
The reason I think a book and a film are slightly different is because the way you present information is different. Remember the video that the editor did on Fantastic Beasts?
Yeah.
You can present characters with information dumping in a way that is more action oriented on the page than you can just on screen. On screen, giving like that dossier moment is a lot more clunky, I think. Whereas you can weave it a little bit more into just words and dialogue and moments because of the power of narration in a book. Like say Jane Austen, like just immediately in Emma Woodhouse was born rich, young, and clever with very little to vex or distress her. That's exposition, but it's a part of the narrative structure of the book from the narration. It doesn't feel as ham-fisted as if this person just walked on stage and said, "These are the things about this person." So that's what I mean. I think there's a little difference.
Yeah, I think that there's there's definitely gonna be a difference from medium to medium, but I think that the
overarching premise is the same. Yes.
Yeah, it works. It's just from story, right?
Yes. So it is a thing of story. So tell the audience what your idea with it was for why you were talking about it.
I didn't really like my podcast last year. I knew it wasn't like driving value for listeners. I didn't mind that because it was kind of just needed to be what I needed it to be at the time, which is more just like a journal, like what I'm doing. But I just found that I was always like saying that I was doing stuff, and then I don't know, stuff would happen. I would change my mind. Like that was kind of the story of my year last year.
Last year was a year of change for you, though.
Yeah, big time. But
dramatic.
Yeah, and I wasn't just quitting things or changing things just because like I was indecisive. It was like, oh, now I have new information. I need to make adjustments, right? But basically, I think it's cooler to show that you've done stuff than it is to tell that you're going to do stuff. Is basically my thought. Like it would be way cooler if I just came out in 2 weeks and was like, oh yeah, I have abs again now and huge arms. Rather than me being like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. I'm going to do this thing, right? That's basically the premise of what I was thinking.
I really like this concept because I've made calling it a rule makes it sound like I pay way more attention to it than I do, but just a general heuristic of I don't like to talk about what I might do.
Yeah.
I like to talk about what I have done. There are very few things that I like to ever bring up until completion, because otherwise I'm just talking about things that, or even worse, this is the number one thing I try to not do, talking about things that I could have done, because I always feel like that's just such a cop out. It's more interesting to talk about what actually has been accomplished. It has more value in it. It's hard, it's real, it's concrete.
Yeah, it's a real story then.
Instead of just an alternative imagination.
Yeah. Yeah, not just an imagination. It's like a thing that's happened. I just think it's more exciting. I think it's more I think everything about showing what you've done is better than telling what you've done. And I also seen a lot of people making like New Year's resolution videos, and I was just thinking like those videos are never going to pop up on YouTube. Like they have no long tail. Like it's fine if you want to put it out or whatever.
It's just churn data. It's not.
Yeah. It's just shit. It's just shit. It's just like it's nothing. It's got no value. It's got no deeper value for like rather than talking about like how to overcome art block, or like if you make a video about overcoming art block or write an article about that's evergreen, that has potential
Mhm.
forever, right? But like
Yep.
my goals for 2023 is not great,
Mhm. So
right?
something else you brought up in the episode that I really like, because this is something I've been thinking about. There's only so much time to do stuff.
Yeah.
So you have to choose what you're going to do.
Yes. What do you think about that?
I had an interesting thought the other day. And that's part of the reason why we're doing this impromptu episode, because I want to talk to you about this regardless. And you gave me the perfect opening.
There you go.
I recently read a bit about Errol Flynn. He's
Mhm.
the guy that was Robin Hood in the Adventures of Robin Hood, Captain Blood and Captain Blood, Seahawk. He was a devilish rake and genuinely one of the icons of the swashbuckling genre. He
Yeah.
died at the age of 50.
Okay.
That's a real possibility for any of us. It could obviously happen even sooner. Hopefully,
Yeah.
it happens later. But I'm 2 years away from 30. And it occurred to me I've got about 20 years till 50, 22.
Yeah.
So let's just start making plans for what if I only have to 50? In terms of my creative career, anything
Yeah.
past that would be great. But let's say I only have 20 years to build and create everything I want to in a good book. I also started reading
Yeah.
a biography on Terry Pratchett. He ended up getting like Alzheimer's in his 60s.
Oh yeah. That's sad.
It is. It's terrible. He eventually got to the point where he couldn't write anymore.
Yeah.
And as a writer, I want to be able to write for as long as I can. But if I have only 20 years, give or take, to produce something, how am I going to take the actions needed to create that career and make all the things I want to? So I've just started writing out, okay, 20 years. That's roughly at my current rate of production. That's, let's say, 22 years, current rate of production. I've got 20 books that I can write. Hopefully more as time goes on. Things can change if I get to spend more time writing. 20 books. So what are we going to do to make sure that it's something that'll work? And so I've started listing out what are the habits that's going to take for the first 5 years. What are the goals? Mm-hmm. Then that's as far as I'm trying to look in detail, but just giving myself a focused time frame to work with instead of just assuming there will always be time.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Do you think it's changed the way that you're proceeding?
I thought about this like 3 days ago, and already I'm thinking of things more concretely. Because like you can always say, well, there's eventually going to be an endpoint, but actually putting your finger on it gives you a better sense of urgency. Like I've always thought that I have urgency in creating and doing the things, but the thought that it could really be that short of an amount of time, it makes me proceed with more intent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. When I was doing fighting and you like have a fight, you know what day it is. And so there's an urgency in the sense of like you're training for this specific day and you can just feel the time ticking. And it's like every moment that you're not spending getting better towards the goal is coming anyways. And I really miss that aspect of having that urgency feeling, because like it's just not the same. Like to have a painting, to make a deadline that like to yourself that like a painting needs to be done, or you want to get like 100 paintings done, or like whatever it is, right? um I miss that sense of urgency, and I think it's really important to cultivate that ourselves. I think a big problem with creatives is when they're just wishy-washy and like they have no output. They have no output, right?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have
Well,
output. You gotta
it's that
do.
high level of openness that it's what helps make creativity work. By the same token, unless you set yourself to getting it done, you're just going to continue floating.
Totally. Yeah, it's tough sometimes, man. Tough.
But that's what I've been thinking about is, okay, if in the next 5 years, I want to generate more of my income from books than from my regular job. to do that, I need to start building the things in the next 5 years that make successful authors successful. So that means now doing research on those things, building those structures and habits, and more importantly, just consistently writing.
Yeah, were you not thinking about that stuff before?
I was thinking about it like in a, oh, well, I should do that.
Mm-hmm.
Less I'm going to now write down, do it, spend X amount of time doing it. I think that this last year I have more of a fire to get as much writing as I can done. Because I mean, this will be my third book I'm working on now. So at this point, I definitely feel more of a pattern, and I figured out what worked for me and what didn't in the last two books.
Yeah. In terms of the actual writing or in terms of the routine?
In terms of the actual writing and the routine. But I also need to figure out, so I know how to make a book. Yeah. The difference is now I need to know how to sell it and sell it well.
Yes. So what's your plan?
Research. I'm going to build my email list this next 2 years. That's the big thing I need to get done. And previously I have been wishy-washy on it, and I've just been like, I can't figure it out right now. Let's put it on the table. Now I need to figure it out.
Yeah. That's where I'm at too. I need to build my email list and get my cultivate my people. You know what I mean? But I think that now I have everything. Yeah, but now I have everything. Like,
well, I'm making what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I know what it is. I can see it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I've got I don't know. I got my clothes and stuff, and then I realized how everything needed to be. I realized how all my graphics needed to be, which just made it easy to do all my stuff for my live stream. It made it easy. I've got business cards in the mail. And it's just I just know what they should look like. You know what I mean? I know what everything should look like now. All because I know it sounds stupid, but just because I got my clothes. That was the lead domino that changed it. Even though I was thinking about getting the clothes for a long time and I knew that I was gonna get them. I don't know. I just didn't put together what it was supposed to be until I had them, and I was like, oh no, I know what all this shit's gonna be.
I'd like to point out you have had what I call a suit up moment.
Oh, there you go.
Because you've literally put on the suit, the costume, and the uniform, and it has helped put things into perspective and place. It's made things clear.
It did. It was, but it's the nice thing is it's just dope clothes too. So it's not I don't know. It doesn't feel like a stupid costume, even though it is a stupid costume. But
everything that we wear is a stupid costume. I wear a leather jacket
I'm not
80% of the time.
I'm not upset about it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But no, it did. It made everything clear once I had it together and I put it together, and it was cool. It was neat. It was I know how everything should be now. I'm just kind of finalizing the last little bit of how the actual show and how my videos are going to work now. But yeah, I'm excited for it all.
Well, I think that you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you are walking into this now with more of a plan than you have in the past.
Yeah, well, I kind of knew my plan was before was just make paintings and then make videos. I know that doesn't sound like a very
detailed,
crazy plan. Yeah, but that's all I needed, right? That's at the time that was all I needed. I need to make paintings. Making paintings is the most important thing, and then making a video of the painting is good. And I can make it depends what the painting is going to be, will depend what the video is going to be. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I was approaching it before. But now that I'm ready to be done with my old YouTube channel, I closed some loops. I finished editing videos for this person, this art teacher guy. So I'm not doing that anymore. So I don't have to worry about that. I literally just have to worry about work and Meatball and myself. And then the rest of my time needs to be dedicated to making paintings and stuff. So I don't know if that it's I got more of a plan, but it's just because I think I am more focused. You know what I mean? So because I'm more focused, a lot of things just fell into place more than, I don't know. A lot of things just fell into place more, I think, than anything. I definitely have more of a game plan for sure, but it just took a long time. It was small, little, tiny decisions over a long time span, right? Over whatever
Mhm.
however long I've been thinking about doing a live show since before I left. So that's already at least 3 months. But I was
Mhm.
thinking about it a long time before. Like, how am I going to do this? You know what I mean? Because I just have such a good setup for doing live streams and stuff. It's too easy to not do it, basically.
Yeah.
But if I can make a good show out of it, like an actual show, um, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be cool. So yeah. So yes, it is more detailed, but it's I don't know.
It's the same plan, just with more bullet points beneath them.
Yeah, I would say that I've made style choices,
Mhm.
and because I'm like because I've when I was in Thailand, we went to this Greek restaurant because my buddy's Greek, and
Mhm.
then it was really good food, and he had like tzatziki dip, like like tzatziki sauce. You know
Yeah.
what I'm talking about? Yeah. Um,
Vaguely.
the
It's been
guy
a
was
long
like
time since
really
I had Greek food.
yeah. So it's just like this sauce that you get with like souvlaki or whatever it is called, and basically this like when we have tzatziki sauce here and we get it from Costco and it's just like this really bland it's good but it's just like really bland. I think it's like a yogurt based sauce.
Mhm.
I could be wrong, but it's just really bland in the sense of like there's like it just is like okay, this all tastes the same. But when we were in Thailand, I went to Costa's restaurant, like his tzatziki sauce was like had like such a sharp herb taste. Like it just tasted like so much like dill and like some other things in there. Like it has like such a strong flavor. And I was like, oh, this guy like made a choice on how he wanted his tzatziki dip to taste. And there's gonna be some people that don't like this because it's so dilly or because it's
Mhm.
so herby, but it's really good. But this guy picked a lane to be in. Like when we're talking about like directors being like the auteurs or whatever,
Yeah.
right? They've like picked a lane to be in,
Mhm.
and pick certain things because they pick certain things, it eliminates a lot
Yes.
of other things just because you pick this lane to be in.
Mhm.
And so a lot of my decisions were not so much decisions, it's just that I picked a lane to be in now, and
Mhm.
because I picked that lane to be in, it just eliminated a plethora of choices. Whereas
Yep.
before I was operating from I could do whatever I want.
Mhm.
Um, I had a whole graphics package made for my art show, and it looks kind of like gamery and like modern and stuff, and that
Yeah.
kind of like a sports show,
It looked like a sports show.
Yeah, that's kind of how I wanted it to look though, like
Mhm.
because I watched this one um mixed martial arts show
Mhm.
every week,
Yeah.
and it's like got graphics and stuff, and I was just looking how they do it, and I was like, yeah, I'll just get all this made and just do like a live stream show like this. I got like a little talk segment thing, thinking about it, and I was like, okay, I'll just do this because I hadn't picked what lane I was gonna be in, and then like I got
Mhm.
my clothes, and then I was like, oh no, this is a good idea. I need to
Mhm.
all be in like this vintagey
Yep.
1920-ish, right? It needs to all be like this. Everything needs to be like this. Like the costume's a good idea, but like it all needs to be like
Mhm.
this. And as soon as I did that, then I made decisions based on that. But like
You've decided what your brand looks like.
yeah, I decide what my brand looks like, but it makes different choices in it. It makes choices all the way down the line, basically, for
Mhm.
how I'm going to do everything, for how I'm going to interact with people, where I'm going to film my videos, right? If I just film my videos in my house, I'm the only character in there. So it's like, how do you add a little bit of spice with like only having yourself as the only person,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Myself and Meeple, right? It's just me and him. So it's like,
And the
it's
ferns and the fairies.
yeah, and the ferns and the fairies. So only like, but these are just questions that I've been wrestling with, right?
Yeah.
How do you show yourself making a painting and not have it boring because it's going to get repetitive? That's what I'm
Mhm.
doing every week. Is me making a painting. So it can't just be like, here's the painting I made and this is me doing it, and I'm going to do the exact same process every time. Like you can't talk about that. You have to talk about different stuff. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? But not every time. But if I'm also just painting portraits and figures, I can't just always be like, this is a person.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm doing another person. Okay, this time I'm doing a person. Like you can't just that's boring, right?
Yeah.
It's fine for one or two, but it's like, yeah, it's boring after a little bit. So it's just like these are all just questions I've been wrestling with. But because I picked my step, I know now I
Mhm.
figured it out, I think, is
Well,
where I'm at.
it's like your favorite quote by Seneca. If a man not knows not what port he's sailing, no wind is favorable.
Yeah. That is true. That's it. That's it. But it is. If
It
you have the
is.
clarity of purpose, if you know where to
Hmm.
go, it just makes everything
Hmm.
way easier. And when you don't, you don't. And there's sometimes in life when you're not going to know, and you have to
Hmm.
fucking be in those stupid wins,
Yeah.
lost a little bit, not know what to do, wait till
Well,
things settle down a bit. But then,
it's like the
yeah. But
Odyssey.
basically, yes, yeah, getting blown back, and then, but when you do know, then you got to make hay while the sun's shining, right? You have to just
Hmm.
boldly go forward. Like a lot of the stuff that I've been thinking lately is like, um, I don't have to do anything other than just do the stuff that I need to do. I need to make the best art that I can. I need to make the best videos I can. I need to show up for my work,
Hmm.
right? Which also means like eating the best that I can and working out as hard as I can, like being in the best shape so that I
Hmm.
can be at peak performance
Yeah.
across multiple disciplines, mentally, physically. Um, yeah, that's what's up.
Uh, so this reminds me of, I told you before, I met with my mastermind class, and one of the guys asked me a really good question. Do I want to be a successful, a good writer, a great writer, or a great author?
Yeah,
Making that distinction between the two concepts. Someone whose work sells, and that's the basis of who they are and what they do, or someone who just really writes the absolute best. And while I know the artist within me should say wanting to be a great writer should be answer, I want to be a great author.
there's nothing wrong with you don't have to put that caveat on it. There's nothing wrong with that because it doesn't mean that you're not going to try to be the best
Yeah, I
writer
think
that
that
you
one
can
comes
be.
with the other.
Yeah, I do too, but I do think that's an interesting question.
Mhm.
Um,
Because
yeah, I
it's
do think
like
it's an
you said,
interesting
it
question.
changes how you go about it.
It does big time.
100%. Because like you were talking about, it it's a decision which then affects all of the little decisions going down the line.
Yeah,
Because
especially like,
I'm
are,
not
yeah, is what you're doing have commercial appeal?
exactly. Am I just a self-indulgent writer who writes amazing prose, but no one gives a crap because you can be a really great writer and no one will care. That's entirely
Yes.
possible. I don't want to be
Yeah,
a writer that
not
no
only
one cares
possible,
about.
but not only possible, but likely.
Likely. And that's not the kind of obscurity I want to live in.
Yeah. So what's your plan?
The plan is to actually write something commercial. So like I've been sitting down and thinking through, I need to create a series character. I have been reluctant to do that mainly because there's a degree of that the autistic iPhone first. When I said series character, Siri thought I was talking to her.
That's funny.
I need to create a character and a series built around that character because one of the most successful authors of adventure-ish fiction has been Clive Cussler, and he created
Mhm.
multiple different series. Dirk Pitt has lived past his author's creation. Now, I think his son and a couple other people are writing stories about that character. James Bond is a character that has outlived Ian Fleming. I don't know if I'm going to be able
Yeah,
to make a character like that, but that's how you create a stable continuation is by having
totally. Yeah.
a headline character.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking about too, but I'm the character.
Yeah. So I need to do something like that. As much as I still want to play in different genres and write different things,
You
I
can.
need to, and I can, and I will.
You
But
could if it was the same character.
well, and that's the thing. Like, there's Marvel movies have proved you can do a series and have multiple different genres.
Oh yeah. I think that's a big thing. Like the Mandalorian being like a spaghetti western,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Oh, yeah. Well, okay.
Um,
I'd point out Star Wars itself is the original concept was a Western and a samurai movie. It's just, it got changed into different things and so on. Anyway,
yeah, I would say that Star Wars is more the typical hero's journey, and I think the Mandalorian is a lot more what I would think of like a western.
mm-hmm. He's the
Um,
man with no name and no face,
yeah,
basically,
yeah.
which is
But
really
I think that
cool.
you can have Like I think that you could have a horror movie in a Star Wars universe. You could have a
Oh yeah.
romance just in the universe. You know what I mean? You could have a comedy for sure.
Oh
Comedy
yeah.
would be great. But you could have all those things in the universe. Just yeah, genre is genre, right?
Hmm.
The universe is the universe.
Well, and I was reading John Truby's the so he wrote the book called The Anatomy of Story,
Yeah,
which was really good, and I think I've recommended it to you. He recently came out with a book called The Anatomy of Genre, and his one of his premises in the book and explaining these things is single genre things don't succeed anymore. The
hmm,
things that still work are cross genre. So an example being Knives Out, the first Knives Out film, and even the second one. They are mysteries, they are comedies, and they have social satire and comedy. They have multiple different widgets going on at once that makes it inherently more interesting. Star Wars,
yeah,
Indiana Jones, these are all things that like mix multiple different genre elements to make what we now consider these blockbusters. Jaws is a horror movie that also is a tropical film. I mean, like it's unique.
yes, yeah. That's interesting. I never really thought about that so much, but yeah. But you
So
can still
that's what I
play
need to
within that
do.
universe. Yeah.
I need to create a character that I can take from world to world to type to type. And I think
Sounds
I've
fun.
got that, but I want to close the rest of the loops that I'm working on first.
Yeah.
And I want to position myself so that I'm taking the right step, which that's not me delaying. It's me wanting to make sure I have the idea fleshed out first. Because one thing I've definitely learned from this so far, an outline really helps to write a good book.
Oh yeah, for
And I
sure.
don't have one for this character yet. I just have the character. So I'm gonna keep developing that. The plan is that by I'm going to start working on that in the background. And I'm going to keep working on the other two story ideas I've got at the moment for this next year and finish out the Reason and Romance trilogy so I can say it's done with.
Nice. Exciting. Exciting times, my friend.
Exciting times. Scott, what do we have to look forward to? What you want plug?
Nothing. My YouTube channel, I guess. Scott Hebert Art. That's all I'm gonna be posting on. I'll do my podcast Dispatch from Wildman, but that's gonna be basically rough versions of what my show is, what everything that's gonna come on my YouTube channel. But if you like listening to podcasts, you can check it out. I'm sure Terrence will put links somewhere. Bye, bye, bye.
I will put links down in the bottom. And you know what? He says Dispatches isn't terribly good. I've enjoyed it, and it's going to be a good behind the scenes
Thanks.
look at your creative process, I think.
Yeah, that's true. I should stop hating on it. I don't know. I just like yeah, it's just funny how like the creative stuff. I don't know. I'm not even like embarrassed about it or anything. I just wish that it was more. It's hard for like I know that I'm get value out of it, and I just want to
Mhm.
provide value to my audience, and it's hard for me to be like I understand that there is value in like listening to someone talk through their own problems or whatever,
Mhm.
but like I don't listen to podcasts like that, so like I'm not the audience for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
All
where I'm
right,
at. That's
Scott,
Thanks
we
for having me.
always look forward to having you on the show, and
No,
I will put links to all of your things in the show notes. Be sure to check out his YouTube channel. It's loads of fun. Scott, thanks for joining us.
thanks for having me.